trekking over hills and valleys, traversing not just the wilderness, but also city streets. Sometimes seeking fun in the mud. This herd of wild Asian elephants continues with their epic journey in southwest China's Yunnan Province. In March 2020, they set out from their natural habitat in Xishuangbanna, a tropical region bordering Laos and Myanmar. As they traveled further north, they passed through the cities of Pu'er, Hongta, and Yuxi, eventually reaching the outskirts of Kunming, the provincial capital, home to some 8 million people. The journey, which has spanned a distance of more than 500 kilometers, is probably the longest ever made by an army of elephants in China, with their final destination a mystery. The herd started with 16 members. 3 of them dropped out of the trip en route, while 2 babies have been born on the migration. The tour group is finally composed of 6 adult females, 3 adult males, 3 sub-adults, elephants aged 5 to 15 years, and 3 infants. In early June, 1 male broke from the group and wandered off on his own. Authorities along the elephants' migratory route are responding proactively to their movements in order to protect the safety of both the giants and residents. A special command center has been set up, which deploys a dozen drones to keep round-the-clock tabs on the elephants. For the drone operators, their mission is rife with challenges, especially on rainy days.
在这种情况下，第一个是我们无人机难以不能起飞，只能通过人工搜索的方式进行，而山地又比较陡呢，人工也很难以上去，寻找效率比较低。
Heavy machinery also plays an important role to prevent the tuskers sneaking out to populated areas. Hundreds of trucks and excavators have been mobilized every day to form roadblocks. Another important daily routine, preparing tons of food in an effort to minimize the elephants' disturbances in local communities, and at the same time to bait them into turning back.
期望它往普洱往版纳方向移动，这样移动呢，就是它能回到原来的栖息地。这是我们最理想的一种状态。
The presence of the creatures has aroused the curiosity of local villagers.
你可以见过大象，看到了，全了，这些来我们点这些了个。
Most of the time, they are alerted and evacuated when necessary.
有亚洲象出没，请村民朋友注意回避。
With beefed up mirrors, the good news is no conflict has happened between the jumbos and humans. But in some cases, the naughty neighbors have been a nuisance. They've raided farmlands, gorging on crops including corn, paddy rice, and sugarcane, all on their list of favorites. What is also a necessity when tap water fails to quench their thirst, they come up with other options, like this or this. They also poke their trunks through villager stores, helping themselves to food and leaving great messes. But locals have shown much tolerance to the giants.
大象也饿了，它也不是够日的。
咱这农村人说的就那庄稼吧，种不好了就一发，这茬晒不了那下茬了，这东西没了就没了。
So far, the herd has caused economic losses worth millions of yuan. Officials say they will not turn a blind eye.
对沿途已造成的财产损失，及时督促相关保险公司启动野生动物公众责任保险定审赔付工作，最大限度是保障人民群众的合法利益。
Over the past few months, these elephants have generated quite a lot of online buzz. They've become almost like contestants on a reality TV show,
小公象首
as
先对
their
自己
every
的领
move
地
is
来了
shared
个
on
大形
social
式。
media. A local songwriter even wrote a tune about the herd.
大象喝酒醉，你还不相信？
Many people say they're also learning quite a lot about how elephants go about their daily lives. For example, many netizens have said they never knew elephants slept lying down and not standing up. They even got to learn how a mother elephant would react if her child fell into a ditch. The wandering herd has also captured the attention of global media.
A herd of elephants.
中国メディアによりますと、昨日も一斉にさらなる
Most of them are impressed by China's gentle treatment of the animals. The unprecedented migration has triggered heated debate over the reasons behind it. But researchers point out that all discussions should be based on one fact: migrating for food is an instinct of the species. To get a clearer picture on the issue, we travel to where the herd used to live. I'm here in Xishuangbanna, the largest habitat of Asian elephants in China. Behind me is one of the nature reserves in this tropical prefecture. Before their unexpected trek, the herd of elephants inhabited dense forests just like this. Xishuangbanna boasts the country's largest area of rainforest. As early as 1958, a nature reserve was established here to protect the region's unique biodiversity. Over the past few decades, more reserves have been zoned, taking up more than 20% of the total area of the prefecture. Conservation efforts have allowed Asian elephants to prosper in China, with their population growing from about 170 in the 1980s to some 300 today. Now, the animal can also be found in the cities of Pu'er and Lincang. This has inevitably caused a problem: growing demand for living space and food. Even though their habitat has become replete with the leafy green arbor trees, experts say this is not what the animals need.
这亚洲象它需要的栖息地，并不是一个森林植被特别茂密的一个栖息地，也通过这么多年的管理，保护区里面的栖息地，那个植被越来越茂密，然后它导致它过去它喜欢的一些，比如说一些草地、一些灌木林，已经逐渐消失了。就说对其他的一些动物可能是一个好处，比如说我们说的一些以野果为食的一些鸟类啊，它可能它的食物会增加，但作为亚洲象这个物种，它的食物是在减少的。
Since their great appetites for plants like wild plantains and tiger grass can be easily satisfied, they've gradually sought out a good bargain, consuming crops in human habitats, which costs much less time but provides a lot more nutrients. And this is considered a major motive behind the herd's northbound long march.
可能一直没有找到一个比较理想的一个栖息场所。 然后他不知道前面到底是个什么情况，可能觉得前面可能会更好吧，他就一直这么走。
Over the years, as the elephants have increasingly intruded on neighbor herds, conflict has been unavoidable. In some encounters with the creatures, people haven't just lost property, but also their lives. This is a common phenomenon in countries where elephants reside. Research conducted by Beijing Normal University shows that between 2013 and 2019, direct economic losses from elephant-triggered damage in China reached some $30 million. But herein lies the question for local governments. How can conservation of the endangered species be balanced with protecting people's well-being? early warnings based on close monitoring have proven an effective approach to shun the tasked visitors.
周围有野象出没，请大家注意安全，不要在田地逗留。
Another simple yet practical experiment is fencing off human settlements in risky areas.
17年的时候，因为保护局这边给我们做这个大象防护栏工程，然后的话做完以后的话，大象就进不到村子里面来了，然后我们生活的也会很放心。
But either eluding or obstructing is not a fundamental way out. Some cities are now experimenting with growing plants or crops in designated areas, a project that's been dubbed the Elephant Canteen. It's hoped this might mitigate their impact on people's lives. These efforts are easing tensions. Many locals now have mixed feelings about their giant neighbors.
以前刚开始的时候，经常吃了庄稼的话，会有点不高兴啊。但是因为有了这个大象，就像然后野象谷嘛，我们好多村民都在这边上班，就是因为有了这个大象以后，才有了这个就业的机会。
For some, their love towards the animals has only grown. They always lend a helping hand when the jungle mammals are in trouble. This rescue center in Xishuangbanna now keeps some 10 elephants rescued from the wild. All were injured or deserted. Here, the keepers, who call themselves elephant dads, take care of the creatures as if they were their own children.
我对大象有一种特殊的情怀，因为每天一上班之后看到这群当年在死亡边缘的这些大象，然后今天能够在这里摇头晃脑，对吧？很高兴的在迎接你的时候，心里面有一种幸福感，以及一种叫成就。
As there's more effort made to diffuse conflict and conserve the species, some researchers say people also need to seriously reflect on the herd's unusual migration.
我觉得应该就是整个社会都需要考虑这个问题，就是我们怎么把亚洲象的栖息地能够建得更好。如果能够尽快的建立亚洲象国家公园，那个应该来说是一个比较好的一个途径。
Creating national parks is China's latest attempt to protect the environment, which means larger space for wildlife and more effective modes of management.
保护区呢，它不是专门为大象保护的，还包括像孔雀啊，或者是野牛啊，或者是很多其他物种，包括望天树啊，对吧？它保护的是整个森林生态系统。那么我们说的庄内的保护地，就是说，比如说亚洲象的国家公园。 那么这种形式呢，可以就是说把范围画得大一些，就是说有一些不在保护区的一些地段，比如说一些天然林、一些国有林，或者是老百姓的一些耕地，我们可以把它就规划起来，给它足够的生存空间。
Having trudged for more than a year, people are expecting the wandering animals to go back home as early as possible. On July 7th, the elephant separated from the rest was tranquilized and safely sent back, as its presence was posing a danger to public safety. But experts say the remaining animals can't be treated in the same way, as it's too risky for both the giants as well as human beings, and that a gentle approach is still the priority. There's relief that the herd looks to be moving southward, but it could take months for them to return home.
要翻越一些天然的一些屏障，比如说要过红河，要过这些大的这些山系河流，它可能就会受到一些阻拦。
With the protective measures in place, the roaming creatures are expected to stay safe and sound, and the baby elephants grow healthily and happily. What awaits them in future is hopefully a better homeland, where they can coexist harmoniously with humans. Yuanjiang County, CGTN, in Yunnan Province.
This is China's tropical rainforest. I've come here to explore some of the plants and wildlife, but particularly China's largest land animal. China is vast. It's got the greatest mountain range, the Himalayas, the highest plateau, more caves than any other country, and 3 of the longest rivers to be found on Earth. In this series, I'm going to search out some of China's furthest corners. It's a little bit dicey going in here, discovering the unexpected and thrilling life that's to be found here. I think this is your snow leopard.
Oh, look at that one.
Look at that one. On the trail of the unique animals, landscapes and people of wild China. This is Xishuangbanna Tropical Botanical Garden. It's the largest of its kind in China and of great importance. Now, as you can see, I'm surrounded by rainforest, and I love rainforest, but particularly because this is a world-class garden. There are 13,000 species growing here, some of them pretty weird and mysterious.
I'm in Yunnan Province, exploring a region that's been called China's Amazon. It's home to some of their smallest insects and largest animals, and I'm on the trail of them both, starting here in one of the world's most famous botanical gardens, a hotspot for plants and insects.
One of the frustrating things about a rainforest is that all the trees look the same, but that's the value of a botanical garden like this. Things are labelled. And here we've got Antiaris toxicaria. Like many trees, it protects itself because there's a war being waged in here between the trees, the insects, everything. This is a competitive environment, but it protects itself in its bark. And the local hunters would score it and collect a latex-like sap that comes out. And with that, they dip in their arrows, because when that mixes with blood, it's lethal.
It is so poisonous, it's said that a single drop can kill a goat, and 6 drops will kill a horse. This is a beautiful place, but it can be deadly, and so are some of the creatures in it.
This is the part of the garden that most people never see. You know, 2/3 of this garden are set aside for research.
I've been invited to explore its secrets with conservationist Dr. Ning Chao.
Hello, Ning Chao.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
You're going to show me some of the wildlife in the garden.
Okay, 好，我带你转一下我们的园子。
Yes.
这个是
Look at this. This is China's biggest spider. We call this the golden spider. Look at the stripes on its body.
非常的特别。
China's golden orb web spider is famous for its impressive webs.
It's a pretty wide spread that those legs give. It must be about 12 or 14 centimetres. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Their webs are extra strong and can be up to 1.5 meters wide, making them formidable traps for the unwary.
Now, I've seen these sorts of spiders in rainforests before. Normally, unfortunately, you don't see them until you walk into them. And you say, oh, you have a horror. But of course, the horror that I experience is nothing compared to the dangers that the male of this species experiences.
The special point about this spider is that the male is really tiny compared to the female. The male is just 3 millimeters big, and when it is mating season, they have to pick the right moment.
But what if they don't get it right?
It will be eaten.
It's a pretty tough life for a male golden spider. Amazing.
It's thought that there are over 3,500 species of spider in China. Many are new discoveries, but a few are familiar garden guests.
Ray,
look. This one looks like a spider, but it's not a spider. Its eyes are very tiny, so we call it the blind spider.
It's a very good name. We would call these harvestmen, but there are so many here moving. Why are there so many?
因为它的视力不好，所以
Due to their poor eyesight, they must work together when hunting. This increases their chances of catching their prey.
增加它在捕猎的时候的一个就是优胜的一个这个机会。
It's amazing. It looks as though the whole ground is moving here. I can even hear them. What are they hunting for?
They are carnivores, so they mainly eat things like insects and other bugs. Meat is their main food. They don't eat plants.
For the other insects that live here, this is a nightmare. An army of harvestmen making their way through the underground.
It's not just the forest floor that's alive with life. Over 260 different species of bird flourish in the tree canopy, including the crimson sunbird.
Incredibly intense scarlet breast and iridescent green head. It's just beautiful.
这个就是我们说的那种
Yes,
太阳鸟。
we call this the sunbird. It is like the hummingbird in the West. It loves nectar.
就是吃花蜜。
It's just beautiful.
Unlike hummingbirds that hover whilst they drink, crimson sunbirds prefer to perch.
这种太阳鸟它特别喜欢这种
Sunbirds love this type of long, tube-shaped flower. They insert their beak into it to suck up the nectar.
插进去，
Yep.
然后
In
找到
fact, you see that one there is just putting its bill in at the top of the flower. It's taking the shortcut through the side. It's quite skillful. You know, until I came here, I didn't realize that China had a tropical area like this. But in the next part of my journey, I'm going to put the small animals behind me and look for something much bigger and, frankly, more dangerous.
China's wild Asian elephants used to roam across all of China, but now they can only be found in this corner of Yunnan Province. It's thought that there are only 300 of them left in the wild. Before I track them down, I want to find out more about how they're being protected by a new conservation scheme.
Hello, Fayong. Ni hao. Nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you.
Here, local farmers like Dao Feiyong live alongside the wild elephant herds. Unfortunately, his fields of bananas and plantain are irresistible to his elephant neighbours.
This is the heart of the conservation area. Elephants come here regularly because we grow many crops that the elephants like.
In order to protect the elephants and support the farmers, the government compensates Dao Feiyong for any damage the elephants do to his fields.
And you're also a ranger within the conservation area.
I'm trained in elephant encounters and I try to prevent accidents.
3 years ago, Dao Feiyong was on patrol when he unexpectedly came face to face with 3 adult elephants and a baby. The adults charged at him.
We ran for 50 meters until we thought we were safe, but then another one appeared and charged at us, so we had to run again.
Such encounters are dangerous for animals and humans alike. To prevent them, an innovative new system has been introduced.
So, how does your protection system work?
We have infrared cameras on the paths the elephants use. We tell each other on the phone where the elephants are.
Every day, the elephants follow a regular trail through the jungle to reach the river that flows alongside the farmers' fields. It's a dangerous place for farmers and elephants to run into one another.
The main route runs through the bottom of the valley where the water is. Elephants need at least 100 litres a day. Well, the ground here is really telling a story. This is the elephant highway. On the left you can see there's tea planted, and on the right is forest. So this is where wildlife meets humanity. And already on this pathway I can see elephant footprints. This is a really clear one here, look. And you can see as the elephant's going downhill here, he's put his foot down in soft ground and the foot has just slid a little bit as he gets purchase. And you can see he's going downhill because of the nails that are showing in the front edge. And this is a rear foot. And the rear foot's longer and narrower than the front foot. I don't know the soil here, but I would say that these are pretty fresh. That's exciting. This is a very big animal and it's very close by. I can clearly see why there's a need for an early warning system. I'm right on the elephant trail here, and it's a little dangerous. You have to keep your wits about you because you see how thick it is. An elephant could literally be just a few meters in the thickets, and if you don't spot it, you could be in serious trouble. Elephants, despite their size, have this ability to vanish in woodland. We really must stay alert now, and the trail is going deep into the rainforest.
I'm not the only one on the lookout. Further up the trail, I meet elephant ranger Wang Bin.
Wang Bin. Hello. Ni hao. Very nice to meet you. So this is your early warning system trigger, a trail camera.
This is the front line of the whole elephant warning system. It is an infrared camera trap, and any passing animals will trigger it. Once it is triggered, a picture will be sent to my phone. And with that, I can see if it's an elephant, and I can sound the alarm.
That's amazing. So by the use of these cameras, you know when the elephant was there, how many there were there, and which direction they were heading.
Yes, it's instant, and I can trigger an alarm immediately from my phone to sound a warning siren.
It's so lovely to see modern technology being used in such a beneficial way. But the question I have to ask you is, did I trigger the camera? Oh, there I am, caught on camera. I can hear the siren sounding.
As dusk falls, the failing light makes it even more difficult to see into the shadows.
You know, I've got complete faith in your system, but I am a little old school, and I just saw some very fresh elephant tracks, and big ones too. So I think perhaps it's time to head back to the village.
Come on. But tomorrow, I'm looking forward to a very special elephant encounter. I'm exploring the tropical rainforest in Yunnan Province in southwest China in search of the wild Asian elephant.
I'm really excited because I've been invited to the Asian Elephant Breeding and Rescue Centre. Now that's been in operation since 2008, and already it's making a difference to the number of elephants in the wild.
There are fewer than 300 wild Asian elephants in China. Although tiny, that's twice as many as there were 20 years ago. In part, that's down to village conservation schemes, but it's also down to the work being done here to nurture and rewild the elephant population.
Well, here we are. I can already smell elephants. How exciting.
This facility isn't open to the public, but I've been invited in to meet one of China's leading elephant conservationists, Dr. Bao Mingwei.
Mingwei, ni hao.
Ni hao, hello.
Nice to meet you.
This elephant is called Cockroach. We are about to give him a checkup.
Okay, 我们要带出去检查一下小强。
Okay.
这小强 今年4岁。
Cockroach is 4 years old. He's an orphan. He was abandoned by the herd when he was only 8 months old and was living alone. He was very miserable. So we brought him to the rescue center and fed him. Now he's grown and put on weight and he's in good spirits.
Come
on then, Cockroach. Let's go and get you checked up, shall we? Cockroach is just one of 20 elephants rescued by the centre since it opened 12 years ago. Some had been orphaned or abandoned by the herd, others are injured. The centre nurses them back to health, and when they're ready, they release them back into the wild.
Okay, 非常good, 非常好. Okay.
He's taking a really careful look at the feet. Good. Elephants' front toes rest on the ground, but their heels sit on thick cushioned pads. It means that these enormous animals actually walk on their tiptoe. It's very easy for an elephant to pick up a sharp stone or a big thorn or a sharp twig, and that can cause a problem, make it lame. And they do a lot of walking in the wild. They absolutely depend on their feet, so they've got to be in good order.
His left leg is good too.
Okay, good.
Yep. I think he's passed his foot examination.
Okay,
Now I'm going to check his lungs to see if they are healthy.
Fantastic attention to detail, isn't it? The care that's required to take care of these animals. An elephant's trunk is effectively a long nose with numerous functions for smelling, breathing, grabbing things like food, drinking, and trumpeting.
Good.
We check for lung infections. This sample will go to the lab to be analysed.
And the trunk, well, that's the most important thing, really, for an elephant. This is the way they explore the world. Asian elephants have one lip at the tip of their trunks, which they use a bit like a finger. There, show them your lip. Oh, beautiful. In a few years' time, this will definitely be the largest cockroach in the world. It's a great name. Every day, the orphaned elephants are walked into the surrounding jungle to familiarise them with the wilderness. Well, here we go. This is a nursery school class, getting ready to go out into the forest and become familiar with it. All necessary steps towards being released back into the wild. They're fabulous. 2 other youngsters arrive, led by an older female elephant, their new mother and teacher. When she sees Cockroach, there's a fond greeting between them. It's chaos in the nursery class today. One of the youngsters has gone running off in search of a banana. Come on, this way, come on. Come on, greedy guts. Elephants are very sociable animals. In the wild, they live in family groups. For Cockroach and his new family, this is a dress rehearsal for their future life. You see how easily they can move up a steep slope. It's nothing to them. They take one step and we have to take 3 to keep up. It's lovely to see them out in the forest. Lots of things to sniff, lots of things to eat, to play with. Yeah, even my cameraman, I'm going to push him out of the way. Oh. I think that elephant likes to be the centre of attention. Yeah, good scratch.
These are some of the skills for surviving in the wild that they are discovering. When they have an itch, they learn how to use branches to rub their skin. When they are hungry, they learn which plants they can eat and which vines contain water.
This training will helpfully prepare them for release back into the wild. There, hello, you're gorgeous, you are. Is that nice? This is the most wonderful thing. So tell me, what's the future for these elephants?
I love elephants so much. It comes from the deepest side of my heart. The ultimate goal of our reintroduction training is to let the elephants go back to the wild and return to nature. But it is not an easy task. We must persist. We must reinforce their survival skills and then set them free.
It's been a real privilege to work with you today. I share your vision. Perhaps in 50 years' time, China will be able to celebrate a very well re-established wild elephant population.
谢谢你，
谢谢，
谢谢，
谢谢。Do you know, this is one of the most wonderful things to see. Elephants around the world are so beleaguered by negative impacts with humanity, and here they're being restored to the wild. It's the most beautiful thing. Next time, I'm heading into China's mysterious cloud forest. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. On the trail of one of the country's wild superstars.